welcome to another edition of the Motor City Man Mouse Show. Am I hyper enough? I don't know. Depends on how much caffeine I had over at Charm City earlier today, but I don't care. I'm just not normal Wednesday, everyday self, just hyper loud and etc. Dot 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 dot. Anyways, I'll want to welcome a new guy to the show. We'll get to him in just a moment, but want to welcome my co-host Steve Ballester. Are you ready for another night of the AG Network? Anything goes?
Anything goes.
All right. You looking for any watch suggestions?
I don't know. Am I?
I don't know. We'll find out in a moment. Ed McAndrew is back in the
I'm just waiting to see if you surprise me like you did last time with a couple of the topics that you threw out that we were going to chat about.
Well,
you keep me on my toes. Keep me on my toes.
No, we're breaking. Let me tell you something, Ed. We're breaking you in nicely. Rob kept begging me for topics this week, and all I did was give him a deaf ear on this show, my man.
Yep, no topics.
You got to think on your feet. And with that said, I want to introduce Robert Ephraim, who's actually from my hometown, actually in Metro Detroit. Robert is making his debut on the network here, and hopefully we'll have him on once or twice a month. We'll see if he can handle this thing called an obstacle course. And if Rob is tough enough and he wants to take my job, he's welcome to do it. Ask Frank Chapman. He'll tell you all about it. And Rob knows what that means. But yeah, Rob, we'd like to get him on once or twice a month. We got to see if he can handle today, though, Rob.
Well, I'm glad to be here, guys. Glad to be on the show and glad to experience the things that the Motor City Mad Mouth has to offer. You know?
And last but not least, we have the Candy Woman, because she makes it forget about you. I didn't get into this business anyway.
Wow, I think that's the first time you sang to me, Scott.
No, I'll tell you what. If I start singing, what'll happen is I'll break a Memorex glass, and that's all she wrote in my singing career.
Well, when it's your birthday, we'll all sing to you.
All right.
I'll tell you what. I'll be spending my birthday with you in Naples, Ballesteri. Don't worry about that. On December 29th for those that are interested. Well, all right. So when I was talking watch, I actually was being very honest and distinct about it because we're going to start with a watch topic from one that everybody's all too familiar with. And we're going to talk about the old Rolex. Because you know what happens with Rolexes? Here's the story. I'll let everybody comment on that. Why do I use my phone for this? Because you think I'm going to memorize this stuff with saying it? No, it doesn't matter. I got 4 capable people that are going to listen well. But Rolex makes $13 billion a year, has no shareholders, reports no earnings, and has been owned by a nonprofit for decades, the most secretive empire in business. Most people think Rolex is a company like any other, but technically it's not a company at all. It's a non-profit foundation, and that changes everything about how it operates. The story, Rolex Hans Wilsdorf, founder of Rolex, and he actually did this, it looks like March 22nd. What is it? Let's see what we got here. Hans, let's see how my eyes. Yeah, March 22nd, 1881. I don't think any of us were born back then. This is when he was born. To July 6, 1960, German. Yeah, I guess I kind of figure with a name like Hans, he's going to be German. But he actually founded Rolex in 1905 and built it from nothing. His dream wasn't just to make luxury watches. It was to create something that would outlive him. Well, definitely it has. Let's continue the narrative. When his wife died, he had no children or heirs, so he made a decision no billionaire would make today. He donated all his Rolex shares to a foundation that still owns Rolex to this day. That foundation is called the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation. It's a mission: keep Rolex private, independent, and timeless. It doesn't answer shareholders or Wall Street. It only answers Wilsdorf's original vision. Because of that, Rolex doesn't pay dividends. It reinvests profits back into research, design, and charity. No investors, no quarterly reports, no pressure to cut costs. Just an obsession with perfection. That's why Rolex moves differently than any other brand. No flashy marketing, no trends. They let scarcity and craftsmanship drive desire, and watches are the marketing. Even their factories are built like fortresses. Few people have ever seen inside of them. Every Rolex is made with military secrecy. Boy, you ought to like that one, Steve. Military man. Okay, the military became part of the brand's power. The model is pure genius. They don't need hype to sell. They need sell legacy, Robert. You ever heard of that word? I think you probably have,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Okay. Control and trust. People wait years just to be allowed to buy one. Rolex is now worth more than most public companies, but still acts like a humble craftsman workshop. No social media noise, no celebrity deals, just quiet dominance. Every Rolex funds their foundation. That money supports education, innovation, and charity, but the exact numbers are never revealed because the foundation doesn't have to disclose anything. It's a business that never needed to chase growth, and yet it became the ultimate symbol of success, all while quietly doing what others claim to stand for, building something that lasts. Rolex, as I said, has no shareholders. So here you go. This is my Rolex story, Steve. Take it from there.
Rolex, man. Rolex Submariner. That's the baby right there. That's the watch that everybody in the military, wanted, and a lot of guys frequently got. And that's it's the brand, right? And like you said, they don't do the flashy advertisement. They don't have to. The brand speaks for itself. The quality is unmatched, and it's a fantastic watch. And all it does is tell time. Doesn't do a million other things like you see some of these quote unquote smart watches do. But just give me a Rolex Submariner, and I'm a happy camper. That and Omega Planet Ocean, but that's for a different story, another time.
I wasn't kidding around about this watch topic.
Well, Scott, again, you educate me, bringing me on this show because I was not familiar with the Rolex. I was familiar with Rolex watches. I was not familiar with the Rolex story and the configuration of the business entity, it being a nonprofit. And I just think this is fascinating. And it's Hans and his wife had it. It was pure philanthropic. And what's even more amazing is they deliver such a high quality product. For what Steve is saying, making all this money for what it's charging these prices, and then I was doing some quick research, and the foundation has two main roles: to own and protect Rolex, which I think it's doing based on your story, and then it's charitable causes. And the foundation is a Swiss charitable organization. Profits are received from Rolex, and they're they're used very quietly. To be quite honest with you, I'm not really a watch guy, so I can't really.
I own about a dozen.
Yeah, it's funny. My father-in-law has a Rolex, and he got that a handful of years ago. So, it was cool to see and stuff. I've never been a watch guy. My dad was a watch guy. I don't know, never did it. I just think the fact that he and his wife decided to turn this business that is basically, a mega brand in the sense that it's, can do what it does. And it all goes to philanthropic. It all goes to help those less fortunate. So, kudos to them.
I like what Jim says in the chat room. In that case, they should cost less. Well, don't hold your breath, but I understand your logic. I mean, let's face it, Jim, you're right. A lot of people like to have one of those bad things. I heard that the presidential one is pretty good too, from what I understand. So, all right, Rob, take it from there.
Well, I mean, that's a story I didn't know about. I didn't know it was a nonprofit organization, but if you look at it from a business perspective, that was genius. The way they did that. I hadn't thought about it. Especially with a company like Rolex, I would think that they would have this big old board of directors, and they're doing all this advertising and whatnot. But I mean, that is pure genius how they did that. And they got the brand. Not only did they get the branding together, they made a quality product that nobody can really match to this day. Now, if it was trash, if it was junk, then people wouldn't even think about Rolex. But it's a quality machine. Exactly. It's a quality device. and to bring it about as a nonprofit is crazy. I'm looking over here. I did a little Google search while we were talking,
Yeah.
and it says that they did $10.5 billion in annual revenue for a watch, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Come on now, that's genius. That's in the native Detroit, that's straight pimping. That's what they did,
Yeah. Straight
straight
pimping.
pimping. They did it,
Yes.
and kudos to Rolex. I mean, I'm not knocking the brand. I'm not knocking how they structured their business structure or anything like that. I think that was a genius approach, and it worked.
Well, Rob, I'll tell you, hey, let me ask you, Steve. We breaking this guy in the right way here. We start off with a Rolex. You know, we can imagine what he's going to.
And you went right up his alley because he helps business owners. So this one being a business type, story to kick us off was getting him right into his wheelhouse right off the bat.
It's all right, Jim. You don't have to retract your comment. You saw what you had. You kept watching the show, and you'll learn it. It's okay. No big deal. So it's all good, Jim. I appreciate your participation in the chat room, and I hope you're subscribing to us. And if you are, thank you. And if you haven't yet, please do so. Candy, you have the last word on it.
Yeah, by them registering as a Swiss charitable foundation, they pay a lower tax rate. They don't have to disclose their financials. They have 7,000 employees. Can you imagine? Wow. 7,000 employees for a charitable organization.
Genius.
Exactly.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. They were founded they were based out of Geneva, Switzerland, but then they moved, and they were founded in 1905 in London. And then they eventually were moved and bought out and back and forth and stuff like that. After World War I, the company moved its base operations to Geneva because of the unfavorable economy that led to business instability. But since 1960, the company has been owned by the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation, a private family trust.
Okay. All right, let's continue on here. A lot more knowledge to pass on to everybody here. So let's talk about the top 10 countries to live in for 2026. You can't afford a Rolex. I bet you can afford to go here. We're going to go through the order, and we'll go from there. All right, we're going to talk about, I'm going to read through them all. Everybody can comment, rapid fire if you want to. But we're going to start off with Italy. I guess there's no shortage of pasta there, I wouldn't think. Okay. I mean, obviously, I'll find out next year. You got Italy. We got Canada. Oh, Canada. Never mind. Forget about my voice. Oh, I got Canada in there. But don't tell that to Donald Trump because he'll say no, Canada. Okay. And then you got Scotland, named after me, only with one T. Okay. Got Scotland there. Then you have Iceland. Oh, I love that place. Candy and I had a field day out there. Then when you go to Destination Discoveries Media Network, you'll see some great videos on that. Iceland's an awesome place. If you get there, you go out there and do it. But we'll talk about places to live. I don't think you'll be doing flip-flops won't be the dress code up in Iceland. Mark my word. And if you do, my goodness. New Zealand is up there. One of the places to live. We got Switzerland. We have Norway, another one of those great places we'll be going to next year. And what else we got? There you go. There you have it, Steve. Which one makes the most sense to you?
Well, I mean, the home nation would be Italy. That's where, some of the family was from. But at the same time, you know me. I'm all about going to Norway. I'm ready to move to Norway. I want to live up there in the Northern Lights, go to Iceland on occasion with you on a cruise. But one of the places, on a serious note, one of the places that I really wanted to always visit was New Zealand. And for any of you folks that are big fans of, Return of the King, Fellowship of the Ring, and all that, that was all filmed there in New Zealand. Yeah. That is such a beautiful place. I got some friends from down there, and I got me a rugby shirt from there, so I'm pretty happy about that. But I definitely wanted to always visit there. Some of the other places are all intriguing, but I don't know what it is, man. Norway's still holding it for me.
See, now that we have the fearsome force of Steve, Robin, Scott, and Candy, those travel possibilities are definitely inevitable for sure. So, I mean, Steve is a big part of this show, and also when you're part of this show, you get invited to the Destination Discoveries Media Network, which he participated in when we were in Naples. Go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, I think they're all great countries. They'd all be fun places. I guess if I had to choose, I'd go with Steve. I agree with Steve. Norway is up there. I think you said Iceland, and I think I'd throw Scotland in there because there's some kind of similar to what Steve was saying, referring to about Italy. There's potential family connections in Scotland for me being a Mick, MAC versus MC. So that would be good. But, as I get older and stuff like that, to me, it'd be nice just to kind of check out all the other places, even, go down to New Zealand. I actually have some friends of ours that were on another channel, the other channel I was on prior to being with Scott, that were down in New Zealand area. So even go down there in Australia and so on. So, just making sure my bucket list gets filled before, that clock runs out.
See, when you come on this show, it gets expensive since we talk travel, so that's okay.
Exactly. But it would be fun,
Okay, I don't apologize for that. If it gets expensive, so be it. But don't go out there and give me a hard time when you post videos that are off the chart. So it is what it is. All right, Rob, any of those appeal to you and your other half?
Well, I've visited two of the countries, Italy, Canada, of course, because right in Detroit is right next to it. I always went to check out New Zealand and Switzerland. The Swiss, they have everything is free to the Swiss citizens that are there. Education, healthcare. Their tax base is crazy, ridiculously high, because they make a lot of money over there as the citizens that are there. But it's pretty difficult to become a citizen of Switzerland. Right. So I would like to visit there. Also, New Zealand, I'd like to visit.
Okay, Katie?
Well, knowing that I have been to some of these, I really want to go back to we're going back to Norway because we want to go back to Norway. Ironically, when we're going, it's not going to be when the Northern Lights are. It's going to be when it's almost all daylight. But Norway is beautiful. And honestly, we saw the last time we did the cruise, we saw what I would say is the west coast of Norway. Whereas this time we're going to go see Oslo, which is actually on the east side, and then the tip. And then we're going to go to some of these other Denmark and Finland. So I'm really excited to see some of those places as well. Italy's still on the bucket list. It's one of those places where we will go. Obviously the Mediterranean, sea, the cruise around there, knowing that I've done Iceland and them, but Norway was beautiful. Go back there in a heartbeat. I wish I just had a little bit more money.
Don't we all?
Okay. Well, I won't say rob a bank because that's not the right analogy for you, but I'll tell you one thing. No, I wouldn't want to do that. Oh my gosh, all my bank
would be
people out
busted
there,
for the thought of it.
they'll say,
Katie's going to be on the watch list now.
If you go ahead and rob a bank, you're not going to see any of these. The only thing you need to get near a bank is go to the outer banks out in North Carolina. That's okay. You can get away with that. All right. Well, I'm in the mood to talk soccer. And I'll tell you what, I'm really in the mood to get political. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to get political. Oh, my gosh. But that's the right fit for this show. Russia plans to hold an alternative World Cup for non-qualifying nations. How about them Russian, boy? As if they don't have enough trouble with Ukraine. Let's just hold an alternative World Cup because you're not good enough to be in the big show. Anyways, the nations that are invited were Italy, China, Serbia. Of course, you'd expect North Korea to be in there because they'll let you out anyways. India, Nigeria, Chile, Cameroon, Greece, Peru, and Indonesia. What are your thoughts about this one, Steve?
Yeah, try to convince people from those other countries to go to Russia right now and sit in a 60,000 seat soccer stadium with Ukrainian drones flying all over the place. I don't think that's going to fly. And I'm not a big fan of the Russians anyway right now. So no, I just don't think that's going to be very successful.
What about you, Eddie?
I don't think there's enough money that they could dole out to those squads. And also, you'd want to, if I was those countries, I'd want to pay in advance type thing. Check needs to clear the old bank account before I'm doing that. But Steve's point's right. I mean, Russia's too. I mean, the Ukraine are giving it to the Russians with the drones, and I don't think anybody wants to go there and play football, soccer.
Football, FUTBOL. Yeah, I got to put that down and spelled that way. All right, Rob.
Great concept, bad timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't offer, to
Well
do
said.
some kind of event like that for, a situation when you're at war. I mean, come on. It's just somebody was a genius to think of the idea, but they did it in the wrong time. If this Ukraine situation was all over with and whatnot, and there were no other wars going on, then maybe there might be a slight chance. But I'm like Ed, you got to pay them in advance, before they come, because the risk and the liability is going to be so high, because the tensions are going to be so high.
Well, the old saying, there's perception and there's reality. We have the
absolutely.
perception
Yep.
and we know the reality. Candy has the last word. We have a lot more to go on the Motor City Mad Mouse Show. My name is Scott Morganroth. Please be joined by Steve Ballesteri, Ed McAndrew, Robert Ephraim, and Candy Ebling. If you've missed a part of the show, no big deal. Just subscribe to the our YouTube channel and watch it again and again and again and again. And then if you get sick and tired, then watch another one again and again and again. And do I sound like a broken record? Probably. I'll sound like
Again
a
and
broken
again.
record again and again and again. You said you got the throw. All right, Candy.
Timing is everything, and yeah, wrong time for that to try and even think of doing that. So I'm going to leave it at that because everybody's talked about.
Okay.
We're good, Scott.
We're good. No, back in Detroit, Rob knows this. Rob, you remember back in Detroit, they used to have a supermarket called Great Scott?
Oh, yeah.
Well, good. That was named after me, just so you know, way before that time.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just like Scottsdale was, Scout Calls and all that stuff. I've got
Okay.
residual any of the damn things anyway.
Oh, wow.
All right, let's stay in the sport of soccer since I perked your attention about something that was actually a pretty good story. Folarin Balogun represented England at the youth level and decided to play for Team USA. Well, at least he knows where the origination is of how Independence Day took place. But that's a pretty good story, though, Steve.
Yeah, I was not aware of this, so that's a new one on me. But it's always a touchy subject with a lot of places where you grew up in one place and then you play for another. I know,
Right.
People in the United States were really upset that some of our athletes who were naturalized citizens decided to go play someplace else. I know there was a girl that wanted to play for China, and that didn't go over too well. And that's always a touchy subject. But hey, you know what? You got to do what's right for you.
Right.
And if that's what he really wants to do, who are we to argue?
Exactly. All right, Eddie.
Steve hit on it. You got to do what's right for you. And if you're playing for the U.S. but your nationality, you have nationality somewhere else, and that's where you feel your heartstrings tugging you. You got to do that, and vice versa. What he was doing, what he grew up in England, right, and then he played here in the U.S. So I think this hits on a bigger issue in society where we just have to let people, if it's not hurting anybody, we need to let people do what makes them happy and just let it be, instead of giving people the runaround for doing something that we may or may not like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Rob.
Hey, I concur with Steve and Ed, and I'll interject this, just for controversy and topic discussion. I will say maybe it's because of the money. Maybe they got offered money for somewhere else to go and play.
That's a great point, because we always talk about that. It's a lot
Follow
of times
the money.
It is. If you look at Inside the Pigskin or Sports Wrap, when these things come down, at the end of the day, it's about the money. Really, if we really think about it, I said it was heart, but I think it's heart and money. So that's a great point, Robert. Thank you for bringing that up. I don't even think it's controversial. I think it's just saying what everybody thinking out loud.
All right, Candy.
So a player qualifies for a national team if they meet at least one of the criteria. They were born in the country, at least one biological parent or grandparent was born there. They have lived continuously in the country for a set number of years. They must hold the legal nationality passport of that nation. And once a player competes in an official FIFA tournament match for a senior national team, they are permanently tied to that country with very limited exceptions. So they have, I mean, it's not like they can just pick whatever country they want to. They have to have a genuine link to that, to the country. And you know what? Who are we to say and pick and choose for them? You know,
Right.
if they had a parent that was born someplace and they want to play for that, it's within the rules. Let them.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. They should. All right. Well, let's go ahead. Let's get wackier. Rob hasn't seen the wacky stuff. So.
We haven't gotten wacky yet. I thought we just got wacky. We haven't gotten wacky yet tonight.
Oh, come on, Eddie. I broke you in the right way, but I'll tell you what,
Yes,
Rob,
sir.
we had to make sure it was some easy stuff, but now it gets crazy.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, of course. I mean, come on, Rob. I'm never going to live this long anyway. But the reality is, okay, we have 100. This 102-year-old man drove the same car for 77 years until he died in 2005. Guess what? A 1928 Rolls Royce, and that man is M. Allen Swift of Connecticut. Received a 1928 Rolls Royce Phantom as a graduation gift from his father and drove it 77 years until he died in 2005 at the age of 102, Steve.
Wow.
You think he got the money's worth out of that car?
Yeah, thank
you. That's
absolutely
absolutely awesome. I think that has to be a record, right? You own the same car for 77 years.
Yeah.
I mean, these days you're lucky if you get 17 years out of a car. Never mind 77. But then again, Rolls Royce, they're all like Rolex, right? They're all handmade and they're built to last.
Right.
I wonder what his family did with that 1928 Rolls. Hopefully they didn't sell it. Hopefully they kept it.
Or put it in a museum.
Yeah, that's it too. Yeah, pretty wild. I'll tell you, Steve, what do you think about that? It's pretty wild stuff. That's what we.
That is wild. I love that story.
Yeah, this is the stuff we come up with, Rob. That's why I'll tell you what, we don't expect you to be like my old women in the past, being one and done. We expect you to come more often. I mean, thank God I have one that's my soulmate, but the other ones got the hell out of here so that I have this girl here. Can you hear me, Rob? Well, I guess his headphone is failing.
Just went out.
All right, can you hear me now?
No, he's having issues. He's trying to figure it out.
All right, well, go ahead.
All right, well, I think it's amazing. It's a Rolls Royce lasting 77 years. If it was any other car but that, I would have some doubt that it was a true story. But Steve saying Rolls Royces are all, are all handmade and made to specifications supposedly, and somebody obviously took great care of their car. They did the oil changes, they did the tune-ups. And God bless them for being able to drive it that long. I mean, that's a great human interest story, Scott, to share what people saying. And hopefully that car ends up in a museum somewhere for people to see. And it lasted 77 years and it was driven till the man's death. I think that's a beautiful story.
Yeah, that car should actually end up in the Smithsonian, is what I think. Rob, can you hear me? You're going to have to tell him to check back in. I don't know, Candy.
You might want to log back out and come back in, Robert, like you did before, since you were having issues before.
Well, we'll have to send him a message, yeah.
Yeah, we have to keep it rolling, but we'll do what we got to do. Candy, any thought?
I definitely have
Can you
thoughts.
hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, since you guys can hear me, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say about this guy because I didn't hear any of the comments. Then I'm gonna drop off and come back. Um, I mean, to have a Rolls Royce for 77 years, come on now, this guy has to have had like how many Rolls Royces did he have to have like in a stockpile to to repair that vehicle over all that time? Um, this guy to have a Rolls Royce means that he had to have a lot of money or a great sum of money, and maybe he was maybe a parts distributor or something like that, to help him to keep a car that long because there's no other car that I know of today that can last past 15 years or 20 years without like a major overhaul, every few years now, and if you fast forward to today's cars, you're looking at 5 years before you have to trash the car, because it's going to require engine replacement and all that kind of stuff. So, kudos to this guy for driving the same car for 77 years. I mean, that's a one of a kind deal. Um, and Rolls Royce should have him, on a plaque somewhere in their design studios and whatnot, saying, "Hey, our cars last, decades, over everybody else." So that would be a great marketing ploy or campaign for Rolls Royce. So I'm gonna drop off and come right back because I can't hear anything you guys are saying.
Okay, no problem. All right, Candy, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. What I wanted to quick do is
You don't have to research everything, okay? But go ahead.
give me a second here so I can show everybody.
I know what you're doing because I think I just found what you're going to do.
So I wanted to share that. That's a picture of it. Okay. From that, let me go back here. So the car was a 1928 Rolls-Royce Phantom 1 Piccadilly Roadster. It was given to Swift by his father as a college graduation gift in 1928. Over 170,000 miles driven mostly around Hartford and Springfield. And then in recognition, in 1994, he was honored by Rolls-Royce with a special custom crystal Spirit of Ecstasy Award for the longest continuous ownership. And he left the car and $1 million endowment to the Springfield Museums upon his passing.
Okay, great stuff.
Can I mention one thing?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I to Robert's point right after mine when he was saying it would be hard for a car to last that long, and I asked one of my AIs, can a Rolls Royce last 77 years? A Rolls Royce can absolutely last 77 years or more. Many Rolls cars from the 40s and 50s are still on the road today, and so 49 and 50-year Rolls Royces are 75 years old. And there are numerous examples that are owned by collectors who still drive them regularly. So a well-maintained Rolls Royce is a car that can still be and is by collectors. So still amazing, but it's just cool because the new modern car that's never going to happen. We're never going to have a modern car like a Kia Sportage isn't going to last 77 years. But a Rolls Royce, that's very cool.
Great stuff. All right, well, I'll tell you what. Go ahead.
Can I
Steve.
add one more little tidbit?
Go ahead.
Rolls-Royce Merlin engine is the sweetest sounding engine you'll ever hear. That was in the P-51 Mustang from World War II. It was also in the Supermarine Spitfire. And if you've ever heard that engine, it just sounds like honey going through your ears. That Rolls-Royce Merlin, they knew what they were doing when they built that baby.
Okay, let's continue on. Some more wild stuff on the way. We have a guy that actually spent 5 months in jail because no one told him that he had a bail of only $2. $2. Spent 5 months in jail because he has not one but $2 as a bail. What are your thoughts on that, Stephen?
This guy probably is not going to invent rocket fuel. anytime soon. But I mean, if he's in jail for 5 months, wouldn't somebody have told him for $2, right? All you need is $2 to get out. I mean, wouldn't somebody have told him that? Was members of his family? Somebody talked to this guy, and that's just absolutely amazing. 5 months in prison. Maybe he was doing it to stay off the street in the wintertime. I know, get 3 hours in a cot. You never know.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
that is either one of two things. Either it's Steve's theory, or the theory is all his family and friends wanted him in there for whatever reason. Nobody wanted him around. They just wanted him away. But don't you? I guess you have to put yourself in his mind. Don't you ask the question of, so what's my bail, or where's my public defender, or any of those things. So kind of funny.
Yeah, right.
I guess tough lesson learned there. Ask questions.
Okay, Rob, you got $2 to get you out of jail.
I'm not sure he can still hear.
I don't think he can hear yet.
All right. Well, you got $2, Candy?
So my question was this a savings tactic? Because he didn't have to buy food, he didn't have to pay for, I don't know where he lived. Like, does he pay rent? Does he have a mortgage or not? Like, you never know. I mean, you could live, you get your all your meals, no electric, no water bills, for how many months? It's just sad. $2. I mean, you would think someone would have told him for $2 he could have gotten out.
Unless he's one of them homeless guys that wanted to stay there for 5 months.
Exactly.
I don't know. All right, Rob, you with me? I don't know. You have to keep it rolling.
Keep going.
Keep going.
All right. Well, anyways, let's continue on and we can go from there. Hopefully he'll get it all figured out on his end. He's a tech guy, by the way, just so you know. Okay. Well, we got to see if we can get this technically straight as we continue on here on the Motor City Mad Mouth. So just enough time to do a station break, Candy.
Oh, you're going to do station break. You got it. South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Mad Mouth Morgenroth, talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how it has evolved. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. The audiobook is also available, and you can find a link on www.southfloridatribune.com, where we have a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise, be on a show, have topic ideas, email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Last but not least, if you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. Please click it, like us, and share us with all your friends and family, and then turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. In the top left corner, there is the QR code for the South Florida Tribune's YouTube channel. We are also broadcasting it on our travel channel, which is called Destination Discoveries Media Network. I'm going to switch it to that QR code in the top left. Go ahead and subscribe to that channel as well, please. We would love to. If you like anything to do with traveling, you're going to want to be subscribed to that channel. We bring all different angles of travel to you. Back to you, Scott.
All right, Rob, you back on live? Can we hear you? Rebooting?
Can you hear us? Oh, he looks like he froze now.
All right, well, Candy, when he does get back on, you'll have to convey in English what we just talked about. But meanwhile, for those of you in a relationship, I wouldn't really want to go through this one because this is about as interesting as they get. I'm telling you. For those of you close to marriage material, guess what? You better believe in dinosaurs, because obviously this man breaks up with his girlfriend because she doesn't believe in dinosaurs. A 26-year-old man broke off his 6-month relationship after finding out his girlfriend rejected evolution. She believed the earth is only 6,000 years old and dinosaurs never existed. For him, the differences weren't just about science, but they were about the future, especially raising kids. Well, I guess I don't know if they're raising dinosaurs, but anyways, rather than forcing her to change, he chose to walk away. Sometimes love isn't enough. when the foundation is built on different worlds and dinosaurs. All right, Steve. There you go. Take it from there.
I mean, where does she think all these fossils came from? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, look, you know, you can believe what you want, but there's fossils out there. There's, you know, they dig up bones all the time. They even dug up like 3/4 or maybe even more of a woolly mammoth that was completely encased in ice, except for his head that had worn down through the years. I mean, it's all right there in front of you. I mean, granted, a woolly mammoth isn't a dinosaur, but at the same time, you know, as they say, the proof is out there.
Okay, Candy.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. I can't imagine that. Go ahead. Go to Ed for me.
I would basically say he did the right thing. Walking away before, you know, that's a fundamental belief difference, and you know, it would depend on how adamant she is. I mean, if she's like put her foot down, I don't know. To Steve's point, the evidence is irrefutable because they're finding, but you just have to go downtown in DC to any of the museum, to the Smithsonian, and see the bones of the dinosaurs. They've got it. Unless he thinks it's a conspiracy theory of something. But anyway, yeah. Personally, I think you made the right choice. You don't want to have to deal with that in a committed relationship. That could be very difficult.
Rob, are you back on?
I'm back on. What did I miss?
All right, well, go ahead. You know what? Go ahead, Candy. Give them an overview of these last two topics. We want to keep the show flowing. A lot more to get to. Go ahead, Candy.
Well, the first topic was there was a guy that was in jail, and he stayed in jail for 5 months when his bail was set at $2. So for $2, he could have gotten out of jail.
Wow.
But he stayed in there for 5 months. That was the first topic. So if you want to comment on that.
Was he homeless?
Yeah,
He needed a place to stay? Was that the reason why?
Well,
we don't know.
That would be the first thing that most people would think about, but that's a good question.
You know, $2. I mean, yeah, I would think that he was homeless or something, because he could have easily got somebody to give him $2. He could have got people to throw quarters over the fence at the jail to get $2, you know, kind of thing. Yeah, I would think that he was doing that on purpose so that he can have 3 meals in a cot, you know, for his survival and livelihood. What's the other topic?
All right, go ahead, Candy.
The other topic was about a guy broke up with his girlfriend because she didn't believe in evolution, because she didn't believe in dinosaurs and evolution.
What was he smoking?
Exactly.
I mean, come on now. That's not a reason to break up with somebody. Come on. Now, infidelity, yeah, I could get that, but over something like this, come on. Yeah, there's something else going on there. That's not the real reason, I don't believe. I think that's the excuse, not the reason.
See, he's getting the hang of the show now, isn't he, Steve? Right?
Yes, he is. And that's what I mean. Now you're getting it. I mean, it's crazy.
Yes.
Like the stuff that we're talking about here. I mean, we go from a guy that owned a Rolls Royce for 77 years to a guy that spent 5 months in prison for $2.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
Don't worry. Let me tell you.
Talk about like opposite ends of the spectrum.
Oh, absolutely. I love it.
See, let me tell you something, people. I carefully construct these shows to make them this way. Rob, that's what happens, okay? Once upon a time when I was back in the alarm business and I would definitely know nothing about the insurance, but I do this deliberately to construct these masterpiece, insane shows. All right, Candy, some thoughts on there before we make it even crazier than that is now.
I mean, that's a crazy reason to break up with someone, but there's probably a lot more to the story that, you know, this is just like the tip of the iceberg. Like this is just one little thing that like tipped it over, but you never know.
Well, I mean, I was looking at the picture. This is a picture of some Oriental people, so maybe there is more to the story than I think that they are. I don't know if Americans will do that. I have no idea. I'm not putting my politics out there, partiality, but these are Orientals, and I don't know if they even believe in dinosaurs anyway. But I can tell you one person you'll hear it from. Paul Harvey will tell you the rest of the story.
That's right.
Paul Harvey, I miss Paul Harvey. He was unbelievable in my days at
Yes, he was.
WXYZ. Oh yeah, when I first got my business, Rob knows about WXYZ in Detroit. I worked with radio, and we used to have Paul Harvey come on right before us. He'd be at the top of the hour. Paul Harvey will tell you the rest of the story. But you know what, Paul? I'm going to tell you something you never told anybody before, Paul. So if you're looking up down me, so okay, what do you got up your bag of tricks, Motor Mouth? I'll tell you what I got in my bag of tricks. Because we have cities built in the most impossible locations. Oh my God, where are we going? Let's see if I can get this out right here. We got La Rinconada, Peru. It's built 16,700 feet above sea level, people. This mining city survives in freezing, oxygen poor conditions. We have Venice, Italy. Okay, well, at least this one I can pronounce anyway. Constructed on wooden foundations above a lagoon. Venice constantly battles rising water levels. Okay. Oh, I wonder how the boats work out. We got Longyearbyen, Svalbard, Norway, people. Yeah, we got to have a Norway reference. Located deep inside the Arctic Circle. This town endures months of darkness and extreme cold. Of course, a lot of rich people wish it was cold, but no, it's cold up in Norway. We got Aogishima, Japan. And this is my first run pronouncing these names. The isolated village exists inside the crater of an active volcanic island in the Pacific. We have Sentinel de las Bodegas, Spain. I like this voice and diction business. Okay, we got entire neighborhoods are built directly beneath massive overhanging rock formations. Wait, here's another fun name. I'll just tell you, this is good to play the name game when you have to really keep your mind tested. You got Monam Vasia, Greece. This medieval city is hidden on a rocky island connected to the mainland by one narrow bridge. Oh, if that wasn't good enough with my pronunciation, it gets another one. Here we got Chef Chawin, Morocco, built across steep, oh, that's how echoes of the deep. So I had steep mountain slopes. Its iconic blue streets climb dramatically through the RIF mountains. Okay.
I've been to Bolivia. I've been to Peru, and let me tell you, the some of the cities up there. Well, I mean, the capital of Bolivia is at 12,500 feet. The airport in La Paz is at almost 14,000 feet, and so it's like you don't have to. When they say we're descending for our landing, you don't descend very long. I've been to Peru, and like some of the old cities, that are built up there. I mean, the air is so thin up there; it defies description. However, I mean, it's all, what you're used to and how, you live. And been to Morocco too. And Morocco is like, it's different, but Bolivia, Peru, that place in Peru, it's 16,500. Yep. And like those areas, they were huge cities back, pre-Columbian, times, pre-Spanish arriving, and there was vast cities up there. The Valley of the Sun on Lake Titicaca, which is like, 14,500 feet. There was a huge city there, so it's crazy.
So what do you think of that interesting group of cities, though, Steve? There's some pretty. I had to work hard on my pronunciation, not look stupid.
Yeah. Well, a couple of them you lost me on because I was like, I don't know where that is. But, great list, and it is what it is, and people will live anywhere. I mean, some people live in the middle of the desert.
That's true.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I lived in Arizona. Go ahead. Ed?
I think it's. I haven't been to any of those cities, but I know exactly how a lot of the cities in South America, Peru, Bolivia, are way above sea level. I think the fact that people live in these environments, it just shows how adaptable the human body can really be. I mean, when you were talking, when you said those Peru, it made me think immediately of the Sherpas that lead the people up to Mount Everest and stuff. How they live at that climate for year round,
Right.
and they are not affected by the oxygen thin air. Just like the people who probably live at, I mean, the five of us go to that city in Peru at 16,000 feet. We're going to be gasping for air for a while. We're going to
Absolutely.
struggle.
Oh,
But the people there are
absolutely.
going to live it like it's anything else. I mean, if we even just look right here in the States, if we look at like Denver and the Mile High Stadium and some of the places around there, athletic teams will even come in early when they're playing in Colorado because of to adapt to the altitude. But no, I think I think for me the takeaway is just the resilience and the adaptability of the human person, and really if you were there, we can live anywhere.
You adapt eventually up there.
Yeah,
takes a little
exactly,
while.
Exactly. But you would be we would go up there and it would be hard. And it's just like if you go to Arizona and the heat is killing you if you live in Phoenix and the 110 you can't stand. After a while, you get used to 110. It's not always pleasurable, but you learn to cope and deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Here, Rob.
Well, I'm gonna throw a little spice into this topic, just for kudos. Well, maybe it's because they're in these high altitude places because they want to get away from people. Husbands don't want to be around their wives don't want to be around their husbands. Hey, and even in most religions, when they go to pray, they go to the mountaintops, kind of thing.
Right.
And so. It's a way of getting away, and it also shows, like Ed said, and Steve were saying, it shows the resilience of the humans, of our bodies, and what we can endure. Maybe it's a test to show what is the range of human existence. What can we tolerate, as a species, kind of thing. I don't know, but it sounds like, these high altitude places. Well, one main thing that you don't have to worry about is, mosquitoes and bugs, because they're not going to be up that high. You don't have to worry about predators. They're not going to be up that high. No predators, no lions and tigers and all that kind of stuff. They're not going to be there. So it has its advantages when you want to have peace and solitude. So I get it why people want to be there, but I love the tropics, so I'm gonna stay down here near sea level, kind of thing. I may go up to 5,000 or 6,000 feet, but that's like where my threshold is. That's
so, Rob, if you think with this topic I was looking to promote tourism, I don't think I did a very good job in those places. If you don't like these joints, all right. Anyway, all right, Candy.
Years ago, I moved from Wisconsin down here to Florida. They told me my blood was going to thin and I would be, comfortable. My blood has not thinned. It is hot. I'm always hot. It's funny. I go to work. I'm always warm. I'm the first one to complain that it's warm. They're like, no, it's cold in here. It's cold in here. So I can't imagine. We've talked about things that have happened since COVID and how people, now that they're more used to their phones, they're used to being away from people and not talking to people. You can go to a restaurant these days, and instead of people having a conversation with the person in front of them, they're texting the same person. Right. And it's like, come on. So
right, exactly.
I can see, sometimes people want to just be away from all of the, let's face it. I was watching one of the news last night or the night before, and they did a preview, and what they said on their commercial was, we end every newscast with a positive story. Since when did we have to do that? Like how many, we have so many negative stories that I can understand. Some people just want to get away from all of this hustle and bustle and go someplace more isolated.
Well, all right. Well, I'll tell you what. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm a person that I love to travel, and every place that you've mentioned, in today's episode, I would love to visit. Every place that I haven't visited, I would love to visit. I'm that explorer part of my family. I love seeing different places and going to different places. Whether I would live there is another story, but To visit, yes, every single place I would love to visit.
Okay, let's continue. I'm sorry, Rob, were you want to finish?
The last thing I was going to say, because you don't know a place unless you go to it and see it for
Exactly.
yourself, So experience it for yourself, and then you can form your own opinion from your own experience and not rely on somebody else's opinion.
I learned that early in the game, but I appreciate you bringing it to those out there.
Well,
listening for the
can I
first
add
time.
one more little tidbit?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Well, when I got to up in the Andes, when I was at the the embassy up there,
Mhm.
I noticed everyone carried a backpack, and they always had like big thick sweaters in there. And then I found out why, because you could be out in bright sun, 75, 80 degrees, right? Beautiful day, no humidity. Of course, up in the mountains, there's no humidity, right? And then if a little cloud goes over the sun, the temperature drops 25 degrees just like that. And then you see everyone pull their sweater out of the backpack and put it on. Then they just keep going about their business. And then the sun comes back out, fill it right back up.
Wow. See, that's a tip I didn't know,
That makes sense, though.
Yeah. The highest altitude I've been was Reno, Nevada. That's it.
All right. Well, I hope that my doctor, Millhead Corey's not watching this one, because I'll tell you, he ain't gonna like this topic. That's for sure. All right. Well, get this: a Dollar General worker was fired after consuming $1.69 orange juice at the checkout counter to avoid a diabetic shock incident. Talking about the employee Linda Atkins had previously asked permission to keep orange juice at a register to manage her sudden blood and sugar drop, but her request was denied on store policy. Get real, people. That's stupid. While working at the register, she experienced a severe hypoglycemic episode.
Hypoglycemic. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
close enough. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thanks for correcting me on that one. I've been too busy with these 4 names. I needed somebody to bail me on that one. I'm definitely not a medical person. They only work on me. I don't make a living pronouncing this stuff. And my handwriting is worse for those of you that look at topics, and they don't on this show anyway.
Yes.
Episode took a strange bottle of orange juice from the store to stabilize her condition, paying for it immediately afterwards. Despite the emergency, the company terminated her employment for violating its policy on consuming merchandise, leading to a lawsuit that ended with a jury finding Dollar General guilty of disability discrimination. They actually awarded this lady $277,565. Good for her for $1.69 thing of orange juice. Unbelievable, Steve.
They should be ashamed of themselves. I mean, it goes against company policy. What about having diabetic shock at the register?
Yeah, that's
come on. I get there's rules for a reason, but there's also reasons that rules sometimes have to be broken. And saving your own life over that is, I mean, come on. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Sure,
so that orange juice costs $270,000 now, as
No,
opposed to
$277,000, not $270,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, Scott.
Get the math right. Okay,
$277,000.
That's right.
I'll shortchange that $7,000.
I won't shortchange.
It had gold and diamond speckles in it.
Exactly.
That's it.
No, I mean, everybody from that store manager on up needs to be fired. If they weren't, that's in any day and age. Somebody's in a medical crisis. You do what you need to do to save them. Human life is more important than $1.69 or a rule saying you can't consume stuff. And if you don't understand that and you have to put that in a training document for your employees, then you do that. But then you also think about, if you have to put that in a training document for your employees, what level of employee are you actually bringing in, or management, I should say. I'm talking about that management level. Right. That is the kind of stuff that just really fries my cheese, because she could have died.
Yeah.
I mean, going hypoglycemic, you can die from that. It shows the manager had no care for the employee. which is just horrible because that's the manager's responsibilities for the employee. And it's $1.69 orange juice. And she paid, and she was going to pay for it. And it cost, see, now you got me all jacked up there, Scott. I'm now all fired up, and we're an hour into the show. Thank you, man. Let's go. I'm done. Robert can help me.
Well, I mean, that's a crazy case. I mean, my wife is in HR, and she would have corrected this situation immediately. She understands, when people have medical conditions, she's proactive in helping those employees and to get the medical attention that they need and the services that they need. But the manager, it sounds like from the article that the store or the company already knew that this person had a medical condition, a pre-existing medical condition.
Yeah.
So that right there was the red flag, to management there to make sure that they take care of this employee, the conditions for this employee. And so they violated their own protocol because she had to have mentioned that, she was diabetic and she needed the orange juice. And it sounds like she had done this before. And this particular manager on this particular day probably didn't have a good day going for himself or herself and decided to take it out on this employee, which cost $277,000. So I agree with everybody on the panel here that, there should be some people fired for that, and their employee handbook has to be updated to show, medical emergencies take precedence over anything else, in a company. And that's not something that happened in this particular situation. So yeah, that's where I stand on that.
Okay, Steve, as I understand, you have to take off. Is that correct?
Yeah, unfortunately, something came up. I have to run. I'm very sorry. This has been
No
a
big
blast,
deal.
but I'll talk to you real soon, though.
All right, well, it's okay. I appreciate it. We'll see you next Wednesday
Good
night.
talking to you,
Okay,
Steve.
Good seeing you, Steve.
Yeah, great to see everybody. Love you guys.
Yeah.
We'll
Yep,
talk soon.
let's do it, man.
All right.
Well, he'll learn about Abraham Lincoln another night. Because the rest of us will anyway. So, okay, who do we have left?
That would be me.
Go ahead.
As a manager that manages employees, you have to know your employees. And I know there's a fine line in today's day and age about learning about medical with your employees. What do they disclose to you? What do they not disclose to you? But as a matter of life and death, most employees are going to be upfront with you and say, hey, I'm a diabetic, or, and then you'll know. Now, I get to a certain extent the employer not wanting to, and here's where I have a problem. Once a diabetic goes into like a diabetic coma, as a manager, I don't want to be touching the employee because I don't know what kind of medical emergency they're having. And that's where you dial 911. But if an employee knows their body, especially as a diabetic, they know if they're going low, they feel off. And I've talked to numerous people. I am not a diabetic. I do have family members and coworkers that are diabetic, though. I know enough. I know how to test them if they have their testing supplies there. But most of them know and feel off. And you can kind of start to tell that they're off. If they feel off and they feel that they need the orange juice because that's the quickest way to get sugar into a diabetic is through liquid sugar, then by all means, let them do that. Like, that's just ridiculous to say that they can't. I can understand not drinking it in front of customers or whatnot, but to tell them that they can't have it there next to them if they need it, that's a little ridiculous.
Okay, well, we've got a few other topics I want to get to, and then I'll go ahead and bring this other one up when Steve comes on next week as well. But let's get to what we have. A TV news anchor in the Philippines brought her dog to work because no one was home to look after him. Get this, people. And Davao, Philippines, ABS-CBN reporter Melanie Severino brought her young dog to work because no one was home to take care of him. And let's continue on. During the live broadcast, TV Patrol Southern Mindanao saw a professional news anchor delivering the day's headlines, but just below the desk, her puppy was curled up in the studio floor, quietly sleeping on the broadcast. You know what? I don't have to elaborate, but if you're into pets, what are your thoughts of this one, Ed?
Love it. I think dogs should be allowed in. If your dog is well trained and quiet, and you know it's manageable, because there are some dogs that have a little, like, I would not necessarily bring a Jack Russell Terrier into an office, but if it's like a lab or some of the smaller dogs, I think it's great. I've done consulting and traveled to many companies throughout my career, and I've run many companies have allowed pets and dogs and stuff like that, and I think they are, and cats too. Actually, did some work for a family-owned business that had cats, so wide range of pets. But I think they can provide diversion to the work, and it can be a stress mitigator, where it can kind of help with whatever the stress of the workday is, or people will come in, and it can also promote, from what Candy was saying, everybody's sitting at a table texting to the person next to you. You can also promote, somebody coming to your office and having the conversation instead of sending you email because they want to come and see the dog. It might not be for the right reason, but it kind of promotes, what we're trying to get at. Because I think the world needs much more, so less of this and more of the communication, because we're losing the art of communication, and it's dying rapidly. So I'm all for dogs in the office.
Hey, Rob.
Dogs in the office, I'm for it too. They have a therapeutic value. Being in the office, it changes the atmosphere of an office, especially if the dog is docile or playful. It sets the tone in an office. I've worked in several offices where the owners had their dog or cat, in the office. I'm personally allergic to certain breeds of cats. So it just makes me sneeze. I don't hate them, but and certain, really furry dogs, because of their shedding fur. But I do promote, having a pet, especially, since they have service pets that are out there, for people who have certain handicaps or whatnot. And it's the way the world is right now, how we're so mentally drained and so mentally stressed out, a dog can relieve a lot of that stress, just for being there. The dog doesn't have to bark or say anything or do anything. Just being there changes the tone and causes the people to relax more, causes them to be less tense. And I like that part about, the dogs that were in the office when I worked in there. Some people are really highly against it. Now I kind of draw the line when people bring their dogs to the restaurants and sit them at the table, with them. Some people are like that, but I kind of don't want to eat my food next to somebody that's in the table with their dog,
Right.
I don't like that part about it. But other than that, in office atmosphere, whatnot, I think dogs are very therapeutic and helpful in the industry. But many companies don't allow any kind of pets, to be brought into the office. So it depends on the company's policy, how pet friendly they are. And if a company says no, then you just don't bring it. Now, in this case with this news reporter, if they had a policy that said no pets and she brought the pet in, then she's going to be reprimanded or fired or disciplined, kind of thing. So it's up to the company to decide which direction they would go with a pet. Personally, I have a pets, so I'm for that.
Candy.
I think a lot depends on the industry that you're in, because are you talking they're going to an office, or are they going to any let's say it's a food preparation or a canning company or a plant like that. I mean, there's
Right.
just obviously some boundaries. Is it a place that customers come in? So does the dog have access? Is the dog well trained? Is the dog on a leash all the time in the office? Um, the other thing is some, like Rob, like you were saying, some people are allergic. So if you
Right.
bring them into the office, are there other people around that are very allergic? And when I say allergic, there are different levels for different people. Kind of like people that have like a peanut allergy. They
Right.
can't be in the air with them. So if
Right.
like you're on an airplane and someone has a severe peanut allergy, they don't allow any peanuts on that, you know. So I can see yes and no. Service animals are technically allowed, and I don't think you could stop it. But we also sometimes have to draw the line some places too. So I think it really depends on the industry.
Well, I think the whole idea is you're just talking about pets in general. There's always that sensitive final line that you have about what you're going to do in this particular case. The acre felt like, you know, if you want to leave them alone, you bring them there. And it doesn't seem like the story's really gotten any positive or negative backlash by any stretch. So it's pretty interesting stuff.
Well, I heard a brief had a conversation with a guy that has a dog mobile gym business, and he says there's two types of dog owners. There's the lover, the dog lover, and then there's the pet owner. So you have a dog lover, you have a pet owner. The pet owners don't get into details and care about their pets and give them the love and attention that a dog lover does. A dog lover will go to bats, get medical attention to their pets, you know, and feed them the finest foods and take them to different places, getting them groomed all the time and whatnot. So that's a pet lover or a dog lover. But a dog owner, you know, just has a dog there for either security or just,
Right.
you know, mental stability and just relaxation kind of thing, just for those kind of things, not taking it to the extreme. Because here in Florida, we have some very extreme pet owners here. You know, you go to any given Publix, you know, in this state, and you'll see somebody with their pet, you know, in the grocery cart, you know, inside of like a pet bed for like a baby, you know, thing, or they have their pet on the baby in a baby stroller, you know, kind of thing,
Right.
all dialed up and whatnot. So,
Yes.
so those are the pet lovers. So you got pet owners and you got pet lovers, and so that's the distinction that I've noticed.
Has everybody spoken on this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Our final topic of the night: 7 strange facts about Abraham Lincoln. And let me tell you, they are interesting ones for sure. One, he really did keep things in his hat. Lincoln often used his famous stovepipe hat as a storage compartment, stuffing it with letters, important papers, and even money. Get that stuff. Don't worry, Steve's gonna get this one next week too. He was a champion wrestler before becoming president. Lincoln was known in Illinois as an elite wrestler, reportedly losing only one match out of about 300. Oh my gosh, Steve's definitely gonna hear this one next week. He also loved cats, maybe more than people. Now he's my kind of president. Okay. Lincoln was obsessed with cats. He once fed a cat a formal dinner with a gold fork and told an official, "Do you think I would let the cat go hungry?" His wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, said cats were his favorite companions. Smart woman. Lincoln had less than 1 year of formal schooling. He taught himself nearly everything, including law, by borrowing books and studying on his own. When he passed the bar, he never attended a single law class. I couldn't get away with that in the insurance business. They're too stiff down here in Florida. He had a high-pitched voice, despite his towering 6'4" frame. Lincoln's voice was described as surprisingly high and reedy. And then he once gave a speech so funny that people fell off their chairs. Lincoln had a wicked sense of humor and loved storytelling. Nothing wrong with that. One observer wrote During one of his humorous speeches, the crowd was laughing so hard, several people nearly fell off their seat. Definitely my kind of president. He once offered elephants and seriously considered it. He once got offered elephants and seriously considered it. After his election, the king of Siam, modern day Thailand, sent Lincoln a letter offering him a gift of elephants to help populate the forests of America. So there you have it. Abraham Lincoln, the man of cats, the man of elephants. Go ahead, Eddie.
He was an amazing guy, top to bottom, tall drink of water. I think the wrestling one I had heard about before. There's I live down in Northern Virginia where there's a lot of historic stuff that surrounds the. I live near the Manassas battlefields, so in a lot of the southern southwestern Virginia area, but the Civil War took place in, and we're not, I wouldn't say we're history buffs, but we like to go down and tour that. It's an inexpensive way to spend an afternoon on a Saturday to go look at historical stuff, and there's some stuff on Abraham Lincoln. I just think he was a unique individual. He was ahead of his time. He was a progressive thinker, and with what he did with slavery and so on. And it doesn't surprise me that he had some unique quirks about him, because we all do, and that's kind of what makes him even more interesting. And the fact that he put, I hope, if he said if he really didn't store stuff in his hat, I would have been disappointed, because that thing was so big. That's not working smarter. That's not working smart at all. You put stuff in that big hat, you can keep it up there. Being that tall, me being being on the short side of tall, sometimes you have to have a kind of a sense of humor about it, because he was, for his time frame, he was extremely tall and thin. And so, I'm sure he had somewhat of a self-deprecating sense of humor as well, which can get people laughing. And so he would have been, he would have been a neat character to have a conversation with. Maybe someday when I get up to heaven and I meet him, I can say, hey. But those are my thoughts there, Scott.
No, that's okay, Ed. I like it. Great stuff, Rob. What do you think?
It was actually a common practice for men to store items in their top hats back in that day. That's a common thing. I knew about that, even before I knew about Lincoln. I knew he was a wrestler. I knew he was a funny guy, but not to the degree that Scott just described.
Right.
And it kind of makes sense. It's like it connected the dots for me, because you would have to be, especially during that time, in our country, it was a lot of pulling in all kinds of different directions. And because he was a people's president, he was able to really get down to the root of where issues were, because he was able to communicate with people from different walks of life. Using comedy is one of the best ways of finding out information and breaking the ice with people and getting people to talk about their problems or issues and their concerns.
Right.
And so when a speaker or a politician, whatever, is very funny, people listen, and they feel comfortable with sharing their issues and concerns. And people use comedy. Comedy goes right along with tragedy. When you have traumatic situations in your life, in order for you not to go insane, you use comedy as a way out. All the major comedians of today, they all have tragic stories that, brought them to a place where they said, well, hey, I can let this consume me, or I can turn this into a moneymaker. And so the popular comedians of today, from all walks of life, they do have tragic stories that they turn into something funny. And that's the mark of to me, a genius mentality. So any person, that can make anything funny, take a situation and make it funny, but still have the seriousness behind it, to me, has a genius mindset. And I really like that about Abraham Lincoln.
Okay, Candy, you have the last word on it.
There's a couple of things. I mean, yeah, he was very self-taught. He was actually a president of first. He was the first bearded U.S. president, the first to hold a patent, and the first to be an inaugural photograph. The other thing is, and this is kind of sad, but the bill to create the U.S. Secret Service was on the president's desk the night of his assassination.
Really?
So, yeah, he was one of the ones that he signed the official legislation to create the U.S. Secret Service just hours before he was assassinated at Ford's Theater.
Yeah, and we'll get more involved with Abraham Lincoln Candy next week. I don't give too many tips, but that's one thing we're going to talk about because Steve's going to have a chance to comment on this as well next week. So great stuff.
You talked about him being a wrestler, right, Scott?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he competed in 300 wrestling matches and only lost one, earning him a spot on the National Wrestling Hall of Fame.
All right, well, that does it for this edition of Motor City Mad Mouth Show. Rob, give me your impressions of this now that you know exactly what we do here on this show.
Oh man, I enjoyed myself. This is fun topics and whatnot. It was not what I expected. It was more than it was what was delivered was more than I expected. So I really like that. I'll look forward to coming back again.
Well, we have a date in about 2 weeks, Rob. Don't you see? You give me two Wednesdays a month. I'll tell you what, we're going to book you on the calendar. But yeah, we had to get your feet wet in this one, and now you have an idea exactly what we're going to be doing here on the Motor City Mad Mouth Show. With that said, we have the Sports Exchange coming up. And let everybody know to get a hold of you. You and I have a date tomorrow on Sports Wrap, Mr. McAndrew.
All right. Well, you can get me here 3 nights a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, inside the Pigskin, here on the Motor City Mad Mouth, and as Scott just said, Sports Wrap. You can get me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram at Ed McAndrew, or my social medias. And also just as a reminder, I think I said this on the last show, I am running a fundraiser for the Association of Frontal Temporal Lobe Dementia. My father was diagnosed in 1997 and passed in 2005 from it. You can go to my Facebook page. If you can donate, great. If you can share it, great. If you can just learn about it, great. It's the lesser spoken dementia. It's not like Alzheimer's. It's attacks the frontal lobe and your executive functioning. So please check out my website, and you can be able to. This QR code will take you right to it. Thank you, Miss Candy.
You're welcome.
And we are trying to do what we can to bring awareness to it. So I appreciate Scott and Candy and South Florida Tribune allowing me to promote my fundraiser. So thank you both. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, well, go ahead. Okay, with that said, why don't you let everybody know to get a hold of you? Now, we talked about that. Obviously, Eddie comes with me Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Go ahead, get more detailed. We have Rob, and then we have Candy to take us home.
Well, I like to finish out with I love the show. I love the format. And before I start promoting all of what I do, I just want to just say that to the business owners that are out there are options out there for you to get the funding that you need to grow your business, especially when the banks tell you no. We have other ways to help you grow your business. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can drop a DM in the chat here, or you can reach out to Motor City Mad Mouth, and he will direct you right to me. And I wasn't prepared to put my links and anything up there right now, but I'll have that ready for you guys next week.
It'll be fine. We're looking forward to having Rob. We've got his bio. He's going to be on the website as well. He's going to be a contributor twice a month on the Motor City Mad Mouth Show, for as often as he wants to come on. But now, like Rob, he caved in. He get no topics. Like nobody. I think I'm letting you off easy. No way. So we'll have him on in 2 weeks. We'll have more hay for him. So he has a lot more to say. Is there a pun intended? You better believe there is. All right, Candy, take us home. We got Sports Exchange coming up shortly.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Mad Mouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the business and how it has evolved. Go get your copy of the book today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. Audiobook is also out there. There's a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there's a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show or be a guest or have topic ideas, email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you see the red subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to whichever channel you're watching it from. If you're watching it, we are streaming to both our South Florida Tribune YouTube channel and our Destinations Discovery Media channel, which is our new travel channel. We would love for you to subscribe to both channels. Again, Destination Discoveries is on the top. The QR code is in the top left right now. I will go back to the South Florida Tribune YouTube QR code. So whichever you'd like to do, please subscribe and subscribe to both. It costs you nothing. But turn on those notifications so you're notified whenever we go live, so you know when we're putting stuff up and what you can watch. And we love all the people commenting in the chat room. So keep bringing all those questions and comments. Back to you, Scott.
All right, well, that does it for this edition of the Motor City Man Mount Show. My love, don't worry, I'll get louder in the next hour. But on behalf of Steve Ballesteri, Ed McAndrew, Robert Ephraim, but he's not, I think after tonight, he's definitely not going to take my job out, right, Rob?
No, this is off you.
I didn't think he was going to try to do that, but he had to see it for himself. Okay, he got Katie Eveling. My name is Tom Warren. On behalf of Steve Ballesteri, too, thank you for joining us this edition of the Motor City Man Mount Show. We will be back next week at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of the Motor City Man Mount. I'll have plenty more to say and a lot more hey. And you'll see Robert in about 2 weeks, unless Robert can free up his schedule and join us next Wednesday. It's up to him. Rob, you have an open invitation. We'll text you. Let me know. There's a lot more to go. All right. That does it. Good night, everybody. And we'll be back. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. Good night, everybody.